All right. We're back here on the Sort of Sports Podcast, episode 82 now. And, wow. I went 9 for 10. I went 9 for 10 on picks. I really was killing it. Like, I really thought I had it. I was like, wow, Bills are going to beat the Chiefs, and I'm going to be 10 for 10 in playoff picks, potentially have a chance to predict everything, the entire playoff correctly. Like, that's insane. And then the Chiefs had to ruin that. So that was pretty upsetting. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. It kind of made me pretty sad. But it's all right. You know what they always say. Nobody's perfect. Like, Hannah Montana used to tell everyone. And I just got to take that to heart. So, it is what it is. But before we talk about NFL, let's do a quick segment on women's college basketball because, man, if you didn't watch Sunday's game between Iowa and Ohio State, you missed out on an absolute hood classic. That was an excellent game. You get to see the best college basketball player with Caitlin Clark. She played an absolute beast game, but Ohio State outplayed them. Ohio State took down Iowa to handle their first Big Ten loss of the year. So huge for Ohio State women's team. They just, they took it to it looked like Iowa had it with they were up by 10 with a couple minutes left to go. Ohio State stormed back, sent it to overtime, and then they won in OT. Everybody rushes the court. It was a great moment. So really, really happy for Ohio State women's team. And yeah, it was pretty awesome. And Caitlin Clark's getting some bad buzz for flopping after a fan ran into her after the game. I think she deserves to get some bad buzz. That was a baby move. I was not impressed by Caitlin Clark on that one. And I'd say I don't know if I'm a Caitlin Clark fan, but I definitely think she's incredible. And so it just annoys me when top level players act like the biggest babies. I'm like, okay, you're supposed to be the top of the line. You're who everyone looks to. If anyone needs to act right, it's you, which I understand that's not really fair, that the person at the top has to be the most proper, but that's reality. So come on. Come on. It also broke Ohio State's attendance record. 18,660 people were there. A friend of mine was actually there in a box, and Ryan Day was in a box seat next to her. So that was wild. They did not talk. He's probably super excited about just getting Caleb Downs and Julian Sayin and all the guys that really kill it in Madden franchise mode when you sim a couple years ahead and download some draft classes. But anyways, enough about if Ohio State football I just want to say, if they're not good once they have Julian Sayin and Downs in them, that is when Day is probably going to get fired. Because he's set to win a national championship within the next 3 to 4 years. If he doesn't do that, I'll be like, okay, what are we doing here? But anyway, great game between those two teams. And, the older and older I get, the more and more I become an old man, where I prefer college basketball over pro. It's really a shame how, it's once you hit 18 that just slowly starts to infect you. You could feel like it's getting to you. And that's not a bad take for what it's worth. It's just funny. Because when you're younger, it's you really like both. And then as the older and older you get, it's the more and more you're I just prefer college. And it's happening to me too. I'm not even going to lie. And right now, I think women's basketball is a little more interesting than men's. And by a little, I mean a lot. Both will still be fun when tournament time comes. But I just think with the women's team, it's that is the pinnacle right now of women's basketball is college. It's not pro. Whereas for men's, EuroLeague guys are kind of where it's at. And then there's all the little leagues, the overtime stuff and the G League stuff with the Ignite. And there's just a lot. Whereas women's college basketball, all your players are there. Everybody does that. That's big. So I don't know. It feels like it's more of a priority, whereas I feel like a lot of good basketball players now don't choose to go to college. Now, granted, Cooper Flagg might be the one to kind of reinvigorate that for the boys, and I don't want to make it seem like, if there's no NBA prospects, I don't care to watch college men's. That's not what I'm saying, but I do think it does add a level of gravity, I would say, and makes it feel like a bigger deal when there is that big prospect. He doesn't have to go far. It's just having him there, I think. And then it's fun to see him fall. Like, one of the most fun March Madness games the last couple of years was that Michigan State-Duke matchup when Michigan State had Cassius Winston and they upset Duke, who had, like, Zion, R.J. Barrett, Cam Reddish, and Trey Jones, and somebody else. There was, like, a starting five with, like, 4 really good dudes. And there was somebody else there. But I'm sorry I'm sniffling in this episode. It's Thursday, so I got to record. But also, like, I have a bit of a cold going on. I don't know if it's a cold. I just have a runny nose. I'm not coughing or anything. It's just a runny nose, so I don't know. It's just been cold lately. It went from being like 10 degrees to 40 degrees. It was like 10 degrees and snowing. And then 2 days later, it was 40 degrees and foggy. And right now we're in the 40 degrees and foggy. And when weather flips like that, it like messes with my sinuses. You didn't listen to this podcast here about my sinuses. So let's... Congrats to Ohio State. I can't wait for the tournament for both men's and women's. It's going to be exciting, and let's shift over to NFL. All right, let's talk about that Chiefs-Bills game. It's been made fun of a lot on social media, so I really shouldn't even hop in, but I'm going to say it. The 4th down fake punt to Lamar, why? Who made that call that was like, okay, they never expect a 4th down punt to DeMar Hamlin, fake punt to DeMar. Like, just because something's unexpected doesn't mean it's the right move, right? You know, if I walk into a bank tomorrow and I strip down naked and scream, give me money to put my clothes back on, that would definitely be unexpected. Doesn't mean I should do it. That's the same thing I feel about with that, where it was very unexpected for them to do that, and that doesn't justify doing it. But that was quite the call there from the Bills. It felt like they were really going for the ESPN award, the ESPY, for that one. It was, it's obviously great that DeMar's out there. I'm really happy he's all right, but it was just not, from a coaching perspective, not the smartest call. That was just weird. And then another thing about that is now people are calling for McDermott to be fired. I don't think McDermott deserves to be taken out as Bills coach. I really don't. Also, reports came out that apparently Diggs does want to stay there, so that's big. My biggest thing with the Bills is, what can you do to get over the hump? Because I'm worried they're becoming one of those teams you're going to see a YouTube video on or a TikTok in like 10, 15 years where it's like, the best NFL team that never won a Super Bowl. And it's going to be this Bills squad. It's going to be like Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, I don't know who else, Dalton Kincaid, Von Miller. Like, they're going to run down this roster. They're going to be like, they went 12-5 one year. And they're like reading all these stats that Josh had. And it's like they took a tough loss as the kick went wide left. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, it's just weird. I don't really know what you do when you're Buffalo to get over the hump. It's like, what? Wide right. Why did I say wide left? It's always wide right. But yeah. So wide right, for those of you who don't realize, Scott Norwood missed a 47-yard field goal for the Bills at the end of the Super Bowl. It was, I think, Super Bowl 25. And Al Michaels said, oh, wide right, and he missed it. So the Giants ended up winning the Super Bowl that year. And then once again, the kick from Tyler Bass was wide right, and they did not beat the Chiefs. Now, here's the thing with Tyler Bass. Obviously, it sucks he didn't make that field goal. I get that. But the whole loss is not on him because Stephon Diggs had like 4 or 5 drops where I'm like, what are you doing? Like, Diggs did not have a very good game at all. It felt like they were going to try to go to him more and more because they threw him the ball on the first play of the entire game for them. And then it just felt like as the quarters went on, Diggs got worse. So that's not good either. My thing with the Bills is, like, once again, I go back to what is the next step here? Like, you're telling me if the Bills went out, let's say this summer, they went out and got Saquon Barkley. Huge. One of the best running backs in the entire NFL. Do you think that makes them win the Super Bowl? I really don't. It's like, what more do you want? let's say they went out and they somehow got Justin Jefferson, were able to keep Diggs. There's like no possible way they could do that. But let's say they did, right? Do you say they're winning the Super Bowl then? Because I don't. I think they're in a terrible spot. It's like, unless you just somehow make the vibes better next year, make some minor moves, this is going to be the team. Unless you blow it up. This is your team. And is this team just destined to be a divisional round loss every year? Because if so, that sucks. They're in kind of a similar position to the Dolphins, where it's like, what can we do to get over the hump? I think the Bengals might be in this situation in a couple years. It'll depend to see what happens like once T. Higgins is out and Joe Burrow is there. I don't think T. Higgins is going to change too much for him. I think they can replace, as much as I think T. Higgins is really good, and I think like it's going to be a situation where once he's on a different team, we're all going to be like, whoa, I can't believe the Bengals had him and Jamar for a while. Like, we're going to be like, wow, T. Higgins is so good. But I don't know what I was saying. I don't know how I got in the Bengals there. I don't know when you're the Bills. Like, it's very much tough to decide what exactly you're going to do. But hopefully they don't blow it up. I feel like that'd be the wrong move. I think you do one more year, which I know is frustrating. But if you do a really aggressive move, then you could just mess up everything. So it's a tough spot to be in. It was released this week that Tom Brady was supposed to be a 49er. They were going to have him sign on because he's from California, go to his hometown team, and be the quarterback for them this year. He declined and stayed retired. So Brock Purdy was the starter. That would have been absolutely insane. I would have taken them. I don't know if I would have taken them to win the Super Bowl, but they probably would have ended up winning the Super Bowl. I probably still would have taken the Lions, but that team that probably would have won the Super Bowl. That's insane. Just to imagine that. It's like a Madden franchise. I also want to say Texans definitely got manhandled by the Ravens in the second half, but I'm just calling my shot right now. I am taking the Texans to win the Super Bowl next year. Super Bowl 59 is going to go to the Houston Texans. It's going to be Stroud's second year as a starter. I think they're going to get even better. They're going to make a bunch of little moves in the offseason. I don't even think they need to really go out and get T. Higgins now. More and more I thought about it, they can just run with Mechie, Dell, Nico Collins, Robert Woods. They'd be set. Tight end-wise, they got Schultz. Like, there's really – all they got to do is draft some better linebackers. Maybe get a couple more corners. I mean, Stingley's good, obviously, but you need more than just him. Pass rush, you're doing well. Maybe beef up the O-line. That's it. Like, really, all your sexy positions are kind of taken care of. And at running backs, I'm pretty confident with just rolling with Singletary and Pierce or whatever guy you can pick off free agency. Because with running backs, unless you've got one of the 4 elite ones, you might as well just sign some solid guy, like a Gus Edwards. Just reality. Unless you got Barkley, McCaffrey, Bijan, or Chubb, you might as well just pick somebody up. Let's talk about Baker, because I love Baker, and I hate watching him lose. He definitely deserves an extension. I am concerned about him, though, because I'm worried that next year they're not going to do as well, and they're going to blame Baker and Bowles, or just Baker, one of the two. Then either they fire Bowles, they bring a new coach in, and that new coach doesn't really want Baker. He wants his own guy, so then they get rid of Baker, and that coach drafts his boy, and that, which is like, I don't know, Arch Manning, right? And then, Baker ends up on a different team, which, here's the thing with Baker. I believe he'll always have a job. I believe he'll always be on some roster. And I honestly believe he'll be a starter pretty much his whole career. But he's probably going to end up being a journeyman guy. I mean, he's already been under 6 head coaches, I think, in 4 or 5 years. 5 years, I think? Yeah, I think we're in the 6th year of Mahomes. So I think he's been in the league 5. Does Josh Allen's 5th year? 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's his 6th. Wow. We're in the 7th year of Mahomes. Well, 6 starting. Well, he kind of started the last couple of games of his first year. Whatever. Yeah, so like I said, I'd love for Baker to get a nice extension and to just keep rolling with the Bucs. But I do think that division is not going to stay bad forever, especially if Bill Belichick goes to the Falcons. Hopefully the Panthers can retool things. We are going to talk about not 10 minutes, it was like a half hour before I started recording, the Panthers did hire their new coach. I think it's Dave Canellis is how you pronounce it. I'm not actually sure yet. All I've seen is read his name on Twitter. He was the OC for the Bucs. Apparently, he was with the Seahawks when they remade Geno Smith. So I'm hoping he can kill it with Bryce, and I really hope he's a good coach for us. I did not expect him. I really wanted Vrabel. Not going to lie. Really wanted Vrabel. But apparently we're getting Dave Canellis. So hopefully that really works for the Panthers. I have kind of high hopes, to be honest, even though we're a really bad team. I just really hope it works out for us. So, but I don't think the division's going to be bad forever. I think the Saints will probably continue to be mediocre, and I think the Falcons and Panthers are going to continue to improve. So it is a little concerning for Baker in Tampa Bay. I just hope Baker continues to start somewhere. I just want Baker at some point to win one Super Bowl. That's all I want. Just win one. I would love that. Make me very happy. But we'll have to see what goes on. I hope they do extend him, though, because I do think he deserves at least a year or two extension. Packers are another team within the next year or two is going to be very scary. We might see them in the Super Bowl. Part of me just wants to flat out say Texans over Packers for the Super Bowl next year, because that might be my blind pick when I do my blind pick in 2 weeks, because this is 3 weeks. This is two young teams that are very scary. They fired their DC. They're going to bring a new one in, so that'll probably help out things for the Packers. And, I mean, wow. Jordan Love is going to be special for them, so it's very exciting for the Packers. I still don't really believe in the Niners, though. If Carlson makes that field goal, they go to overtime. I don't know if I trust that Niners team in overtime. I'm being honest. I feel very confident in Jordan Love in overtime. I understand he ended the game on a pick, but he was just trying to win in the game, get the ball downfield. So I don't really hold that against him. I'm really not that high on the Niners. You guys know I'm going to take the Lions to beat them. So, come on. Lions only win in close games. Once again, they played a close game against the Bucs. Didn't blow them out as much as people thought they would, because that's what the Lions do. They never, ever, ever blow out teams. It's weird. I mean, they did sometimes during the season, but it was very rare. All right, let's officially do the picks for Championship Sunday. I still believe in that Ravens-Lions Super Bowl. I really do. I honestly think I nailed it when I made that prediction. I think I said on Christmas that if the Ravens beat the Niners, I would just take that to be my Super Bowl. I've had the Lions in the Super Bowl since last February. I've had faith in that team for a long time. I also think the matchups we're going to get here are all really good. The only one I really don't like is kind of Ravens-Niners, because I kind of hate that theory with the logo being correct. The Super Bowl logo theory, I kind of hate that, so I don't really want that to be right, because that bothers me. I also really don't care for Chiefs-Niners. I feel like the Niners' year to win, and for me to be entertained, was last year. Whereas this year, I just don't think they're as fun, and I think the Lions are much more fun. And as much as I like Brock, the media coverage around him is starting to bother me a little bit, because they either act like he's super underrated and nobody believes in Brock like we do. And I'm like, you're the same people who continue to tell us he's not that good. And then the other media is just like, wow, he's not that good. Brock's terrible. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not the case either. So it's either an insane glazing or an insane destruction. So I really don't enjoy that coverage. And I just think the Niners are kind of the most boring team out of these four anyway. I think the Chiefs are honestly more interesting, because I find the Taylor Swift stuff fun. If they win, Travis Kelce probably retires and goes out with a ring. So, Here's the thing with that Ravens-Chiefs game. I could see the Chiefs winning. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I really could. Brady won a Super Bowl, didn't go to the Super Bowl the next year, and then went back-to-back. Mahomes won a Super Bowl, went to Super Bowl the next year, lost. Missed the Super Bowl, could potentially now go back-to-back. It would be insane if Mahomes went back-to-back. It really would. If there's any team to do it, it's probably the Chiefs. Is this their worst wide receiver core? Yes. Is Travis Kelce still really good? Yes. Is this the best defense they've had? Yes. What do I like about the Ravens? Well, Lamar has been possibly the best quarterback in the NFL this year. I mean, obviously it's Mahomes, but like Lamar has definitely got to be number 2 at the moment. This is the best we've ever seen out of Lamar. He's going to be an MVP winner, 2-time MVP winner now. This Ravens defense is elite. I prefer their receivers. I prefer everything they have other than running back because Pacheco is good, like really good, I gotta admit. But it is going to be a heck of a game. And I still believe in the Ravens. I still hold out faith. I really do. So I am going to take the Ravens to beat the Chiefs on Sunday. But I wouldn't. Here's the thing. If we end up with a Chiefs-Lions Super Bowl, that's honestly really easy for me because you guys know I don't hate the Chiefs. And I really love this Lions team. So it'd be easy. I just root for the Lions. And if they end up losing, all right, I can appreciate greatness. Whereas if it's Ravens-Lions, I'm kind of in a bad spot because it's like my favorite quarterback versus a team that I also really love. So it's like going to be hard for me, especially because my mom really likes the Lions. My dad kind of has a soft spot for him too because they went to the game when they played the Rams. So it's like, it's honestly kind of tough for me. But I would rather have it obviously be 2 teams that I really like instead of like a team I'm okay. I don't know. I want it to be Ravens-Lions. I really do. So, but I will say it's a little tough for me to pick who I'm going to root for. But anyways, before we get to the other game, I should say Jim Harbaugh is not going to be the coach of the Panthers. He is the coach of the Chargers, which gives me immense faith in the Chargers. I now believe Herbert is going to be taken advantage of in a good way, not like in a bad way, like taken advantage of, like manipulated. I'm saying he is going to be, his talents are going to be taken advantage of, and I honestly believe Harbaugh is going to get incredible MVP level play out of him. And I can't wait for that. I think it's going to be really special what they do together, and I do think they're going to end up maybe potentially with a Super Bowl together. I'm going to be honest. I don't think the first year it's going to be money immediately. I think they win maybe 10 games, and they're second in that division to the Chiefs. Maybe. And then like Broncos and Raiders kind of got to retool. So it's like Chiefs, Chargers going at it all year in that division. And the Herbert fans are going to be eating good. Like we are going to look so validated next year by Herb. Like we might see him win MVP next year. And then, you know, they probably come short in the playoffs, losing the divisional or losing the AFC Championship. That pisses them off, and then Super Bowl 60, they're in it. That's what I see, me personally. That's just, why am I saying that? Literally nothing off of lucky guesses. That is all it is. I'm literally just guessing. So, but my guessing did get me 9 out of 10 picks right in the last 2 weeks, so I'm going to stick with it. But anyways, man, I cannot. I do think I'm going to do pretty well in like 2 years when I can legally sports gamble because I'll just take, you know, if I put $10 down on my future Super Bowl prediction like a year in advance, that's pretty good money even if it's 2 sort of obvious teams. Just wild. Anyways, like if I would have put $10 in December on it being Ravens over Lions, just a month in advance, it would have cashed for a decent amount, honestly. But what was I going to say? What's the first Super Bowl I can bet on? Is it 60? Yeah, it'd be Super Bowl 60. So the Chargers won, if the Chargers get in it. But that'd be crazy if I actually predicted the next 2 Super Bowl winners correct, just like sitting here on the pod. That'd be nuts. But anyway, let's talk about the night game. Lions, Niners. What are we going to see from each team? I think we're going to see a battle of 2 teams that people rag on the Lions defense, but I think it's actually better than a lot of people give it credit for. And it's going to be 2 teams that people rag on their QBs, and I don't really think either of them deserve that much. I guess Goff doesn't get that much ragging anymore. But it's honestly 2 relatively similarly constructed teams, but I just think the Lions are better in every category. I like their weapons better. Not every category. I think the Niners have a better offensive line. Quarterback-wise, I think I prefer Goff. Honestly, Goff's been playing really well. I prefer their receivers. Obviously, you prefer the Niners running back, but it's not like Montgomery and Gibbs are much to scoff at. I think I prefer the pass rush from the Lions. I know it's a crazy hot take, but I really like their pass rush. And I feel like their corners aren't as bad as everybody acts like they are. I really don't. So, I expect a Lions win. I really do. I do expect a Lions win. They're going to the Super Bowl. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be a real shame when they lose the Ravens, to be honest. But really want to toss out there a quick thing of Baker Mayfield. Mike Evans was dropping so many passes. It's like Baker could have had a much better game if his receivers would have cooperated. Just want to say. So, yeah, that makes the Super Bowl Ravens versus Lions. That's what I've been saying for about a month now. Today is the 25th, so I would be saying that for a month now. I truly believe in it. I think it'd be a great Super Bowl that I think a lot of people would really enjoy. Everybody likes this Lions team. I don't think the Ravens have too many haters, other than just Browns fans who still hold it against them that they moved away 20 years ago, over 20 years ago now. So, yeah, it's both these games should be really good. I think the Ravens-Chiefs is going to be better, though, and I'm super excited to see how that one turns out. Okay, that's all I have to say. Let's shift over to ramblings of reels and writings. Quick thing, I have a video idea that I want to make that's like about like rom-coms and why we need more and why we need good ones and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to make that video for the channel relatively soon. But on another note, if I start making the video and I don't like it, I'll probably just switch it into being a podcast episode where I just talk about that. But anyways, I started watching the TED Show because I saw a lot of clips online. Really made me laugh. And I was like, you know what? I've never watched these movies, but I really want to try this show. And I got to admit, guys, it was absolutely excellent. It's going to be hard for any show to top this show from being the best show from 2024. As for overall show of 2024, that'll be tough. I don't know what all I'm going to get into for TV, but I watched 7 episodes of this in 5 days. I absolutely love it. If you want a fun family, not family sitcom as in the way like watch it with your family, because it's definitely not a watch it with your family. But as far as it has like a family dynamic, it really is funny. Like it's really fun. And setting Ted and John in a high school setting made it really charming. It was really fun. The show had genuine heart. It wasn't just, let's watch Ted swear. That's really not what the point was. It used him, honestly, as a character. It's honestly like the modern-day Alf is the best way I can say it, where it's like, yeah, one of the main characters is not human, but overall it doesn't really matter that much to the overall story. He's just a character along with all these other characters, and it was a great show. I'm absolutely blown away by it. I'm actually really upset it's over because I don't really know what to watch now because that show was so unique. There's not anything really like it that I can watch, so I'm kind of sad. I started watching the new season of The Bachelor for fun, but I don't really know what I'm going to watch now. Because, like, I love Burn Notice, don't get me wrong, but, like, I miss having a show like The TED Show. It was really funny. Every episode told a fun narrative, along with being hilarious. I got genuine laugh-out-loud moments multiple times in the show. It was so funny. If this show even looks slightly interesting to you, if you watch it, you'll like it. I've been recommending it to literally everybody I know. I don't think my mom would like it, though. So, Mom, if you're listening to this, you probably won't be that entertained. I just don't think it's really up your alley. But everybody else, my sister, she'd like it. My girlfriend, she'd like it. All my friends, they'd like it. So, Dylan would especially like it, but I don't think Dylan listens to the podcast. But that's okay. He's a busy working man. But, yeah, I don't even know what else to say about it. I think, like I said, I have a script I'm working on for a video, and if I start filming it as a video and I'm like, you know what, I think I want to shift, because like I'm trying to decide if I want to make the YouTube channel more skit focused or like commentary videos. So once I make that decision, I don't know if I'll even stick with it, but I don't know I don't really know what I've decided yet. Right now I'm just kind of figuring out what it is, and like I know what this is, but it's took me a couple of years to figure out exactly what this was. I'm still kind of figuring out what the YouTube channel is. But, yeah, we'll see what goes on with everything over there. If you get a podcast episode within the next couple weeks that's me talking about rom-coms, then you figured out I made this decision that I just like better at podcast form. And if I decided, if I talk about a new video on the channel, it means I decided it was better as a video. So, yeah, that's really it from me. The episode's been pretty short lately because we've only got a couple games to talk about. And so there's less and less stuff to talk about every week. Next week, I'm not sure what I'll even talk about because, it's just Pro Bowl week. Maybe I'll put together my own Pro Bowl roster, and I'll just pick all the guys that I think are really good. Who knows? Or maybe next week, I'll just do the rom-com thing on the podcast. Maybe that's what I'll do. We'll have to see what I decide. But hopefully you listen regardless because that'd be very kind of you. But anyways, I'm going to let you all go. Thanks for listening. And, that was it. That was Sort of Sports Podcast episode 82. I'll catch y'all back here for 83, hopefully. And 84 will be the Super Bowl episode. I can't wait. Hopefully it's Ravens-Lions. And if it's not, then my prediction will actually be interesting because you guys know if it's Ravens-Lions, I'm taking the Ravens. So it's already kind of set. But anyways, that's all from me. You should watch the TED Show if you want to.